You want a webcam?
No.
Okay, let me just press on this one. Then later, right, just as usual, end the stream.
Yes.
You can just off the lights and the aircon there, and then you can go on.
Okay.
Alright, it's live. So, oh.
Welcome to MMU Radio, your ultimate multimedia. Okay. Now, today is the coffee addict here to talk about our weekly session. And the topic today is the freedom of speech. Why not then? Because, well, indiscriminate use of caffeine make me think about this. So I think, hey, it would be fun that I actually try to advocate the freedom of speech. So let's jump into the topic immediately. First, we're going to talk about freedom of speech itself. Though the freedom of speech is mainly for the rights of the average people, for they to speak out against the how do I say, unjust system and whatever. But yeah, you still have to put on the disclaimer. I'm not going to talk about things related to current country that you currently live in. Assume you are Malaysian, not because I didn't want to, but I cannot. Well, make of that what you will. Okay, let's talk about freedom of speech itself. Okay, maybe someone who against the freedom of speech itself, maybe will argue that, well, since everyone can say anything what they want, maybe they will gain some, well, unnecessary traction about it. Just like some celebrity literally showed his affection toward a certain no mustache man. So yeah, it seemed like bad, but if it just to me it just straight out negative bias. Why? Because, well, there are literally billions and billions of people who were enjoying the freedom of speech itself, and they just said they did not just straight out getting punished for say what they want, and most of the time what they say actually make a lot of sense, very radical, and trying to improve the country they live in. So, from my point of view, is yes, unfortunately, there were some, well, how do I say, bad apples within the group, but overall, it's still going to promote critical thinking and improvement within the system. And of course, I'm going to bring out a lot more deeper than usual. Then I'm going to talk about one of the point is freedom of media. Okay, freedom of media. How do we correlate with freedom of speech? Because currently media, not just the social media, but rather the media itself, like the Google search browser, and like some sort of usually social media browser, and some fan-made website like Wikipedia. Those were containing many information for us to know. Of course, not every country literally allows us to, well, watch or listen whatever they want. Just look at China, yeah, you already know. So, okay, so from the point of view of the Chinese government, aside from the fact that some of the information were literally against the government itself, but also some of the knowledge were literally either cursed or downright horrendous smart, like metamorphism. And yeah, like metamorphism that make your brain go into a status of squad broken. And if you don't know what metamorphism is, well, good news, you don't need to know. But you're someone who knows, well, MMU therapy session is always open for you. Okay, so about the freedom of media, yes, the same as the point similar to the freedom of speech itself. The reason why that is because the information is carried is still important. So you need to know more about the current truth about your country. So you're being allowed to understand the situation and speak out for the people and improve the system within the in the country you live in and all that. I think the reason The reason is really obvious, but I do believe there are a lot more than that. How though? Instead of saying that's why, but let's think about how then. Well, how do we actually, make people see the so-called right information and, avoid the horrendous curse knowledge? Well, the point is you can't, because the people who in charge is bound to be a biased individual, including myself. As you can see, I'm more promoting freedom of speech rather than oppose it. So they will literally limit the thing they didn't want the people to see, and it will eventually making the social bubble within the country, which is I highly against myself, of course. But I would rather prefer the fact that giving people choice, like showing them guidelines and all that, but didn't fully enforce it. Yeah, let them know, hey, maybe the information you're going to watch is going to be kind of harmful, rather harmful, and it may be, well, how do I say, damage your soul and mind in the way of in a way like that. So let them know the risk they may be taking, while didn't sacrifice any of the information that may have been censored by the higher ups. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is the freedom of expression. The freedom of expression itself is rather interesting because it's similar, like I said, it's similar to freedom of speech, but not quite, not reach the state of actually there, but similar. So freedom of expression is rather of your how to express yourself, not just by words or the random comment and all that, but rather the one that you're trying to promote yourself to be on online like that, or even in real life. And the freedom of expression is rather kind of like a hot topic. I rather cannot talk about too much about, but I rather say I really want a lot more people to express themselves more and more, rather than try to suppress themselves, because it may be because of their personality were frowned against or just outright illegal in some country. So in that case, it is a rather touchy topic, and I couldn't even point out the reason, like the exact demographic or ethnic group that I'm going to talk, because, well, I'm not allowed to, obviously. The thing is, yeah, I'd rather not talk to you about it, but yeah, I really do hope people will free to express themselves, so they could use their strengths at the best to help out, each other, not just by certain demographic, but rather each other. We as a human species. So in the final conclusion is the fact that freedom of speech is even more touchy topic, especially what you see in America. Public idiot is the public stupidity is unfortunately is real and very dangerous. Misinformation and even rage bait and all that. Freedom of speech definitely came with a downside, of course, but I really do hope the we could look a lot more positive side, since usually what you see on online during news and all that, they were always talking about the negative, not because they just straight out only negative, but because they prefer negative content because it sells. The controversy sells, negative sells, but positive barely sells, of course. Like positive, actually, if you really still don't believe my point, where you could just surf out online talking about some topic, there are bound to be some negative point, negative view, and all that. They will literally pop up in the top because, well, you either rage bait to gain more views, or just straight out trying to gain people traction to literally, well, gain more popularity because of it. And Malaysia also, oh no, I couldn't say that. Oh my god. Yeah, yeah. So when talking about our country, like I said before, I'm not allowed to. So if you know, you know lah. So it's a rather mixed review. I rather say, from even from my own point of view, although I do promote freedom of speech But oh my god, I do prefer some people's freedom of speech would be stripped off. But in that, but in saying that, but I still doesn't want even a slightly intervene by the higher ups, because it would, like I said, because they were bound to be biased and either one, either intentionally or not, they will eventually make a social bubble. Although you people will say it was culture, but rather say culture itself is uh, spreading positively rather than negatively, because well, stupid people, stupid rules, I guess. And freedom of speech. If there anything more that I like to say is the fact that if you don't really bother to use your rights of speech, then eventually the higher ups will think unnecessary. They will try to strip that off you, and this is a rather harmful thing. Don't try to think as a thing that was come is free, because well, even in the history of mankind, the freedom of speech is really, really, really hard to come by. So speak out when you had the chance, that for sure. And I do hope the viewers currently watching this is going to reflect a bit lah. I hope they will literally look upon it and hope for improvement, just same as the world you're living in, the place you're living in, the country you're living in. So yeah, if you really have any ideas that could make the situation better for everyone, speak up. I would rather say, because the freedom of speech itself was supposed to be challenged, supposed to be break the so-called the social rules and all that. It's supposed to challenge. It's supposed to oppose some of the point of view for us to make a better system, better world that we're living in. So aside from that, there was nothing more that I would like to say, because I got more coffee to drink. And whoever watching this, thank you for watching. And you guys are the caffeine they are currently causing to my bloodstream. So that's all. Thank you.